Good evening, everybody, or early good morning, wherever you are. Good afternoon. Next day, where Sashi, who's 12 hours ahead of me, people in New Zealand who are 16 hours, Philippines, 13 hours. I mean, there's all sorts of people I know. Anyway, welcome. This is the Tuesday, TOS Tuesday Review from MikeySuzeFour for the original Star Trek series. It Tonight is going to be season 1, episode 6. This will be the last one we'll do. Like I said, for this week until next year, till January 13th is when we'll start the official weekly webcam series again. So today is the last one, and tonight I'm going to do episode 6 next, which is in a chronological, which they have through IMDb, which is Mud's Women. The first time we get to see my favorite character from the entire original series and subsequent animated series. And then I know he appeared, somebody said it was somebody else that was like him in one of the new Trek series, but I didn't bother to watch that. I like Roger C. Carmel as Hardcore Fenton Mudd. And yeah, he's my favorite character. And if we have time, we'll also do uh, biographies. We'll check quick biographies on the 3 women that were displayed in the episode as well. So we'll do Roger, and then we'll do the other 3 girls. And Lemon Pie says, "Good evening, Mikey." Hello, Sir Lemon. Good to see you, my friend. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so Mud's Women came out on Thursday, October 13th, 1966. Still, little Mikey is 1 year old, a year and a month old. The Enterprise picks up untrustworthy entrepreneur Harry Mudd. That's hardcore Fenton Mudd, did some of you. Accompanied by 3 beautiful women who immediately put a spell on all the male crew members. Fantastic. All right. And I got a 6.7 out of 10 from over 5,000 people. It's kind of a low score. It's kind of like a C grade. I actually think this is probably one of the decent. I gave it more of a B. I guess I gave it more of a B minus. So I gave it about a step and less, you know, 1 step up and a little step back, you know. But yeah, I gave it a B minus grade. That was for me. I thought it was pretty decent. I liked it. The first time you got to see Mud, when you saw him in iMud, with the android planet that he was ruling over, that was okay. Um, but it was better. It was a better episode with him. Then, of course, in the animated series, he had the one with the miners, and that was a good animated episode. But I think out of the 3, iMud is my all-time favorite for him, for that character. Because it was funny, it was great, dramatic, lots of the things that you could ask from an episode. So it was very good, very good. All right, so let's get to this one. Okay, let's see. Right, so there was Karen Steele, who played Eve McHugh. Uh, then, of course, Roger C. Carmel played Mud. Maggie Threat, who played Ruth. And then there was Susan Denberg, who played Magda. So, yeah, we will go over those 3 women and Carmel. Okay. All right, let's check trivia. Okay. Gerald Perry Finnerman was encouraged to be creative in choosing dramatic lighting and camera angles. Robert H. Justman recalled that he said to Finnerman, "We're all in outer space, Jerry, and we're in color." NBC claims to be the first full color network, so let's prove it for them. When you light the sets, throw wild colors in: magenta, red, green, any color you can find, especially behind the actors when they're in a close shot. Be dramatic. In fact, go overboard. Backlight the women and make them more beautiful. Take some chances. Nobody can tell you uh, that's not the way the future will look. How can they? They ain't been there yet. Bob Justman was very pleased with the final results in this episode. He stated, guest stars Karen Steele, Maggie Threat, and Susan Denberg, good looking in real life, looked even more radiantly lovely and ravishing as they worked their magic upon Captain Kirk and crew, after Jerry worked his magic upon the three actresses. Cool. Oh, and I did forget to mention, the director of this episode was Harvey Hart, and the writers were Gene Roddenberry, listed as Gene Roddenberry, and Stephen Kendall, Kandel. And of course, it had the usual suspects. It had, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelly, James Doohan, George Takei. Yeah, it's not Takei, it's Takei. George Takei. I'm trying to get that right. Nichelle Nichols, and some other people that were in it. Madge Barrett, who did the Enterprise computer voice. Yeah, so very cool. Okay, so let's get to the next trivia bit here. Da, da, da. Okay, this and the episode where No Man Has Gone Before, same year, are the only episodes where the crystals that powered the Enterprise's engines are called lithium. Throughout the rest of the series, the crystals are called dilithium. During the very early pre production days of Star Trek The Next Generation, from 1987 to 1994, Gene Roddenberry proposed to have Roger C. Carmel return and make a guest appearance, possibly as Harry Mudd, in order to provide an extra link with the original series. However, nothing came of this as Carmel died unexpectedly at the relatively young age of 54, several months before the pilot show was filmed. The velour uniforms used in this episode had shrunk since they were first used in the Corbomite maneuver from 66. According to Robert H. Justman in Herbert F. Solo's book, Inside Star Trek The Real Story, the velour uniforms shrank every time they were cleaned. The Actors Union requirements specified that the costumes had to be cleaned daily. Susan Denberg, playing Magda Kovacs, appeared in this episode 2 months after revealing herself as the Miss August 1966 centerfold in Playboy magazine. Woohoo! Okay, gotta go get a drink. Right back. After these much. Right back. You getting a pop? No, I'm getting a water. The last one. Get me a pop. You want a pop? Okay. And there's one in the door. There's one here too? Okay. This is yours, okay? Your fries or whatever? Yeah. Don't forget the, what do you call it? The, watermelon back there. Well, we can finish that tomorrow, if you want. Sure, thank you. There you go. Change. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hopefully, take care of my voice here. Oh, always lots of facts about Star Trek. Okay. And so far, yes. So Sir Lemon said, "Good evening, Mikey." And he says, "Not to be confused with 'My Name Is Mud' by the group Primus." Yes, I remember that song. All right. Matt Arnold says, "Hello, everyone." Hello, Matt. Good to see you. Lemon says, "Hello, Matt." Matt says, "Hey, Lemon." Ah. Gorilla says her thoughts. Damn it, Mikey. You have to do it when I'm getting ready for bed. Oh, sorry, Gorilla. Jeez. We have something to do in the morning, and we just want to take the rest of the day off, and because they're probably going to turn off our water. So later today. So not much to do on Tuesday. Guess what though? It's supposed to snow on Friday, on the 29th, when Suzanne and I want to go out. That's what God does to us. For humor's sake, He lets it rain and snow. So I'm going to see my first snowfall probably Friday. Yay, yay me. Okay, so I'll give you some hearts there, Gorilla. There, love you, brother, Big Ape. Mwah. Oh, and good to see you, Matt Lemon, for sure. Okay, let's continue. Here we go. Try to read this as fast as I can. All right. NBC program manager Jerry Stanley recalled that one of the problems we had was in trying to talk Gene Roddenberry out of some of his sexual fantasies that would come to life in the scripts. Some of the scenes he would describe were totally unacceptable. William Shatner noted that NBC allowed Mudd's Women to be produced at all is still a minor miracle. This episode's final scene aboard the bridge is the series' first suggestion that Vulcans have a different arrangement of internal organs than humans. Specifically, McCoy places the Vulcan heart at roughly the place of the human spleen. It's later made more explicit in the episode The Omega Glory from 1968. Upon its initial airing, this episode was generally well received. Um, Roger C. Carmel likewise said about the episode, it was a pretty big success, and they got a lot of positive reaction from it. This also marks the first appearance of the soundstage cyclorama used for different planets throughout the series, which was lit with different colored filters to give an appearance of many distinct colors of atmospheres. Associate producer Robert H. Justman came up with this idea after realizing that reusing the same cloudy background from the two pilots over and over again would result in all planets looking the same. Justman personally decided the backdrop colors for each episode. Problems often arise when the colored gels either faded or burned up after a short while in front of a hot light, and the burning gels made an unbearable odor on the set. The backdrop lighting in this episode for Rigel 12, with tornadic streaks in it, was also used in the episode The Enemy Within, which we already talked about from 66. Spock's description of the crystals as beautiful is a rare expression of his aesthetic sense. Later in Assignment Earth, 1968 episode, he refers to Isis the cat as a lovely animal. A lengthy monologue in which Harry Mudd attempted to persuade Uhura into taking the Venus drug was also excluded from the episode because it was deemed too wordy and lengthy. Roger C. Carmel was extremely disappointed by the deletion of this monologue, later describing it as wonderful. He explained, I remember being very disappointed because I felt the monologue was very effective and very much to the point of the show's philosophy. He nevertheless liked this episode just as much as he liked I Mud from 1967. This was one of the three scripts submitted to NBC, along with Where No Man Has Gone Before and The Omega Glory, when they were seeking to do a second pilot for the series. They ultimately chose to kickstart the series with the Where No Man Has Gone Before. One of the more memorable bloopers in the series occurred while filming the scene where the women take the Venus drug. As Maggie Threat, played by Ruth, reaction shot was being filmed, her right breast popped out of her scanty green costume. A shot of her stuffing it back in with an embarrassed smile appeared in the first season's blooper reel. Harlan Ellison visited the set during the filming of this episode. Ellison was writing his first draft teleplay for The City on the Edge of Forever from 67 at the time in an office at the Desilu lot. Associate producer John D.F. Black couldn't find Ellison in his office and was angered when he finally found him on stage 10, posing for photographs and eating lunch with the cast and crew. Production went a day over schedule due to the intricate camera setups used by director Harvey Hart, which had good results but were too time consuming. Hart also made things difficult for the editors by camera cutting the show, leaving few choices of shot available. Due to these factors, Hart was not invited back to the show. The elliptical playing cards, with which Eve plays solitaire in Ben Childress's home, can be seen in the Enterprise Recreation Room in the Charlie X episode and The Conscience of the King. Despite the introduction of the Red Operations Division tunic in the previous episode, Yahur is seen in a Gold Command Division uniform both here and in the Corbomite maneuver. Regarding the script, Herbert F. Solo commented, "It was very well written, it was fun, and it featured three beautiful women hookers selling their bodies throughout the galaxy. It later became a standout and much loved episode in the series." The handheld device Spock is using after the landing party beams up is a modern E6B flight computer used by pilots to aid in calculating fuel burn, wind correction, time en route, and other items. The burned lithium crystal is actually quartz with iridescent hematite. Teleplay writer Stephen Candle recalled, Gene Roddenberry had the idea of using a personal enhancer allure drug, and I provided the character of Harry Mudd. We spent an afternoon talking about it, and out of the conversation evolved the story idea, and then, of course, I wrote the story. Gene went over it in great, meticulous, and obsessive detail, and then I wrote the script. Kirk's quarters have a window in this episode and a few others to follow. These may not be his normal quarters, though, because Spock directs the turbolift to take him, Mudd, and the women to Deck 12. Later, in subsequent episodes, the window will disappear, and his quarters are situated on Deck 5. This episode contains one of a few times in the series where Spock's race is called Vulcanian rather than simply Vulcan. Mudd says to Spock, "You're part Vulcanian, aren't you?" Mudd was somehow able to distinguish this in Spock, apparently on sight. It is possible that, in the early days of TOS, Spock was meant to look more human than most full-blooded Vulcanians, which would explain Mudd's ability to recognize his hybrid status on sight. In later episodes and throughout the films and later series, Spock is considered to look like any full-blooded Vulcan. It is also possible that the episode's writers meant the viewer to conclude that Mudd had some pre-existing familiarity with both Spock's heritage and his inclusion in the Enterprise's command crew. In an inventive bit of editing, the close-up shot of Eve's hand closing in on the Venus drug is followed by a similar close-up of Spock's hand cradling a cracked lithium crystal. Eddie Paskey, the actor, appears in green coveralls for the only time in the series as Connors in sickbay. Lieutenant Farrell's first name, Johnny, is spoken here for the only time in TOS. The origins of this story can be found in Gene Roddenberry's early 1964 series outline, Star Trek Is, as a story proposal entitled The Women. That synopsis reads, duplicating a page from the Old West, hanky-panky aboard with a cargo of women destined for a far-off colony. Although Grace Lee Whitney, Yeoman Rand, does not appear in the episode, something fell. Can you check it, honey? Ghost pushed it.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't.
Wow.
Interesting.
Spirit wanted to hit you with it, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, very rude. Wow. And the whole thing fell. Look, the whole thing's falling behind you. Although Grace Lee Whitney Yeoman Rand does not appear in the episode, she was on the set during filming, trying to observe everything and get comfortable with the sets and the mood. At one point, Scotty refers to the Enterprise as weighing almost 1,000,000 gross tons in observing the tenuousness of almost 1,000,000 gross tons of starship, depending on a crystal the size of my fist. In the Star Trek Starfleet Technical Manual, author Franz Joseph establishes the weight of a Constitution class starship as 190,000 tons, just as Gene Roddenberry did in his very first proposal for the series Star Trek Is. Partway through the episode, the ship depletes its lithium supply and is running on battery backup. During the following external shots, the warp nacelles are dark since they are not capable of operating. However, when the ship later arrives at Rigel 12, the warp nacelles are once again glowing, yet they have not received any lithium. This plot hinges on the acquisition of the ship's power source, dilithium crystals referred to as lithium in this episode. It seems inconceivable that such a vastly sophisticated and massive space vehicle as the Enterprise would not have a backup supply of dilithium crystals, especially since each crystal is the size of a large fist. George Takei and Roger C. Carmel struck up a rapport after discovering they had a mutual friend. Takei then kept in contact with Carmel for the rest of Carmel's life. Well, that's so cool. This story outline was a candidate for being the first pilot alongside The Cage, which was eventually chosen, and The Perfect World, which became The Return of the Yarkons. Gene Roddenberry came up with the character name of Harry Mudd after driving past Harvey Mudd College on the outskirts of Los Angeles one day. He found the name amusing and decided to incorporate it into the script. Mudd's record notes under sentences psychiatric treatment, effectiveness disputed. His police record code is X731248. The quarters used by Mudd and his ladies is the set for Kirk's quarters, with all the furnishings removed. This, of course, is the first appearance of Roger C. Carmel as Harry Mudd. The costumes worn by Mudd's women, green, red, and a shade of blue, approximate the same three colors of the crew's uniforms in the series. In a story memo, associate producer Robert H. Justman wrote, on page 55, we see Benton riding a digging machine toward his cabin. Let's eliminate this device right now. Gene Dynarski, who plays the miner who ends up with Eve, also appeared in season 3 in The Mark of Gideon as Krodak. In that storyline, he's the man who beams up from Gideon. To change his appearance, he wears a bald cap and mustache. This episode takes place in the year 2266. Although Susan Denberg and Maggie Frett were given makeup and facial appliances, primarily rubber cement was applied to make the skin seem wrinkled, to make them appear ugly as the Venus drug wore off in Harry Mudd's quarters. At the end, Karen Steele appears not to have had so much ugly makeup, likely to show their self confidence makes a beautiful point easier. She simply has her hair uncombed and unstyled and no eye makeup, eyeliner, eyelashes, shadow, though it does seem they caked on some powder to dull her face. People are just so used to seeing women made up. By simply not doing these things to any woman, their appearance can be quite different. After George Takei came out in 2005, a gag wall poster was created showing the three sirens and bearing the caption, Mudd's Women. They seem to be having no effect on Sula. Karen Steele Eve had played an extremely similar role 4 years earlier on the series Rawhide in the episode The Woman Trap, in which the women were to be married off to unknown Western pioneers rather than unknown planetary pioneers. When Mudd and company are detained in the conference room, the shorter security guard, the one on the right, is played by Frank Da Vinci. He is more commonly seen in Science Blue since he was Leonard Nimoy's stand in. Okay, and there are two spoilers, so go ahead and put your hands over your ears, everybody. Okay, while Spock doesn't succumb to the beauty of Mudd's women as the other male crew members do, he does seem to find them attractive, as his eyes following them when he presents them to Kirk, and his smirk would indicate. He also appears to be somewhat amused by the effect the three women have on the men. TOS would reuse actors, but except for characters from the two-part episode The Menagerie, Harry Mudd was the only character who didn't live or work on the Enterprise to appear in more than one episode. Cool. All righty. And we got some people in the chat. and okay. Gorilla says it wouldn't snow if you streamed at a normal time. Oh, well, maybe. Moira Kitty. Meow meow. Meow meow. Hi, Moira. And good to see you. Lemon says, Moira. Ronnie's World. Hey, Ronnie. Hello. Hello, everyone. Boy, you guys are up late. Or I'm just up late. Hey, good to see you. And Ronnie waved from Lemon. Larry says, Hey, Mike, I wasn't sure if you're going live. I'm heading off to bed. Doctor's appointments tomorrow. Plus, Wednesday, I have two appointments that day. I texted you earlier. Have a great stream. Oh, well, thank you, Larry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. I had a feeling, well, we were also getting texts from Phil was sending something. Bernadette was sending something. I did talk to Dad yesterday and wished him a happy 80th birthday, and Uncle Justin turned 86. Yeah, so great Uncle Justin. Yeah, 86. So only by a couple months is he older than Pat, and then Pat will turn 87 next year. So yeah, crazy. Um, let's see. Oh no, I mean Pat will turn 86 next year. She's 85 right now. She'll turn 86 next year. Yeah, next February. Yeah. Larry says, "Hey, Ronnie's World. I'm off to bed. Long day tomorrow and Wednesday." Larry says, "Hey to Lemon Pie." Moira Kitty. Larry says, "Moira Kitty, meow." Lemon says, "Hello to Larry." Lemon says, "I prefer when women wear little or no makeup. Let that natural beauty shine through." Agreed. Matt Arnold said, "Good night, everyone." Good night to you, Matt. Good to see you. Thank you for coming here and being part of the chat. Lemon says this is one of the few TOS episodes I've actually seen. I give it a C. I wasn't too impressed. I agree. I actually gave it a B minus. I thought it was decent because I like Roger C. Carmel as Mud. He really does a good job. Like I said, when he did I Mud, best episode ever I've ever seen of the whole TOS series. That is my top favorite. And then when I get to it, I'll be so happy because I'm like, woohoo, I get to talk about this episode. And then like I said, then he did Mud's Passion, which was yeah, that was the name of it. That was in TAS, right, the animated series. And that was on the miner's planet that he was giving this some kind of miracle drug or something he was doing. So yeah, weird. Um Larry says, "Hey, Matt, my brother." Matt says, "Hey, Larry." Larry says, "Matt, I sent you a message. I want to say, can you put the great work, my brother?" Oh, good. Good job there. Thank you. Thank you guys. And gals, let's see, 4-4. Sweet. All righty, let's get to the goofs. All right. Okay. All right, so first is a couple of continuity goofs. When McCoy, Spock, and Scotty seem to be mesmerized by the women after they are beamed aboard, a close up of McCoy shows him wearing his medical smock. All of the shots of this scene show him without the smock. Okay. When the women are first brought aboard the Enterprise, Ruth's position and body attitude change without explanation. She begins significantly behind the other two women and looking over her shoulder. In the next shot, she is shoulder to shoulder with them and facing in the same direction. In the next shot, she's back to her original position and attitude. Wow. Oh, yeah, and you can remove your ears from your our hands from your ears. Sorry, I read those two spoilers for trivia real quick. Okay, when Spock is escorting Mud and the ladies from the transporter to Kirk's cabin, a blue shirted crewman suddenly appears in the corridor between shots. I guess they left that in. Partway through the episode, the ship depletes its lithium supply and is running on battery backup. During the external shots following, the warp nacelles are dark, since they are not capable of operating. When the ship arrives at Rigel 7, the warp nacelles are once again glowing, yet they have not received any lithium. In the sick bay, Ruth walks in front of Dr. McCoy's medical scanner and it bleeps, as McCoy later tells Kirk, making an odd sound and displaying just two flashing lights. In wide shots of Ruth, the two flashing lights are red. In close up shots of Ruth, the two flashing lights are yellow. Okay, there's two more. Harry Mudd is wearing an earring on his left ear. However, when they bring up his official criminal record, the photo of him shows the earring on his right ear. Okay. After Ruth goes into the sick bay and tries to mesmerize McCoy, there is a discontinuity when Bones is trying to convince her to pass by the medical scanner again. Okay. Then there's one which is incorrectly regarded as a goof. The bridge crew speaks of orbit as if it's something that requires effort to maintain, and Spock notes that they can sustain orbit for 3 days and 7 hours, given their remaining battery power. If they had power enough to enter orbit in the first place, they could enter a stable orbit, which would sustain itself for some time, since the gravitational and centrifugal forces would cancel each other out. However, with something as large as a starship, its orbit would decay over a period of time. Then there's a couple of revealing mistakes. First one is at the end, When McCoy's on the bridge, he puts his left arm up to his chest, and you see a pinky ring on his left hand. And then Mud's Venus drug is amazing since it smooths over wrinkles, fixes your hair, and can even give your face a full makeover, including false eyelashes. And then there's a couple of miscellaneous goofs. In Mud's mugshot, he was wearing the same outfit that he is currently wearing in the interrogation room. And it is proven at the end that wishful thinking is what makes a woman beautiful. This happens after one of the women takes a replica Venus pill, which Kirk then reveals to be colored gelatin. Now, there's a couple of plot holes. When Harry Mudd contacts the miners on Rigel 12 by means of the communicator, Lieutenant Uhura should have noticed the unauthorized communication. Additionally, the planet the miners were on was well out of the communicator's range. In one of the scenes in which Mudd and his women are being detained in a room, he tells each of them how their dreams can be fulfilled. He then boasts that he'll be running the Enterprise. Captain Kirk, the next orders he'll be taking will be from Harcourt Fenton Mudd. The problem is that there are two security guards right in the room with them. He boasts of this loudly, yet security doesn't report that he plans to take over. And if the Enterprise was operating on battery power only, it's doubtful there would have been enough energy to operate the transporter at Rigel 12. Of course, when this episode was filmed, the shuttlecraft had not been invented yet. Then there's character error, just two of those. Mudd's height is stated in feet and inches. Earth and Starfleet has long switched to the metric system in this century, although they still seem to use Fahrenheit for temperature. When the ladies are first brought aboard the Enterprise, they are remarkably calm and composed, considering they were just beamed off a ship a split second before it was destroyed. Cool. Okay, now we got the quotes. Okay, so I'm going to do my best. Let's drink something before I do. These were so cool. Ah. Okay, so Eve says, "Oh, the sound of male ego. You travel halfway across the galaxy, and it's still the same song." And then Harcourt Fenton Mudd poses as a person named Leo Walsh. So all I'm going to do is when he's talking, I'll just say it's Leo. So, Derek, don't you think he could possibly by accident arrange to leave me behind here on this planet? That would be punishment enough. I can't do that, Harry, but I will appear as a character witness at your trial, if you think that'll help. Don't throw away the key. Then Leo says to Spock, "You're part Vulcanian, aren't you?" Spock doesn't answer, just hums. "Ah, well, then a pretty face doesn't affect you at all, does it? That is not unless you wanted to. You can save it, girls. This type can turn himself off from any emotion." And then there's between the computer and Spock and Leo. So, state your name for the record. Leo Francis Walsh. Incorrect. Your correct name. Gentlemen, surely you're not going to take the word of a soulless mechanical device over that of a real flesh and blood man. State your correct name for the record. Harry Mudd. Incorrect. Harcourt Fenton Mudd. Any past offenses, Mr. Mudd? Of course not. Gentlemen, I'm simply an honest businessman. Incorrect. Blast that tin-plated pot. Kirk, referring to the women. Is this your crew, Captain? Well, no, Captain. This is me cargo. And then Bones said, "Are you wearing some unusual kind of perfume or something radioactive, my dear?" Ruth says, "No, I'm just me." Ben Childress says, "And what the devil happened to your looks anyway?" Eve says, "I got tired of you. I slumped." And then between Spock and McCoy, "I'm happy the affair is over. A most annoying emotional episode." And then Bones points at his chest. "Smack, right in the old heart. Oh, I'm sorry," points at his spleen. "In your case, it would be about here. The fact that my internal arrangement differs from yours, Doctor, pleases me no end. Eve says, "You'll never find them, Harry. And if you do find them, you know what they are? A cheat. If you care for someone, really care." "For whom, Evie? For Kirk? You find out ship's captains are already married, girl, to their vessels. You find that out the first time you came between him and the ship. You'll see." "Even burned and cracked, they're beautiful. Destroying them was a shame." Eve says, "Is this the kind of wife you want, Ben? Not someone to help you, not a wife to cook, sew, cry, and knead, but this kind, selfish, vain, useless? Is this what you really want? All right, then, here it is." And then Kirk and Scott, "Bridge to transporter room. How many did we get off?" Um, staring at Mud's women. "Oh, full and all, sir. If the captain of that vessel can walk, I want him in my cabin immediately. Correction, I want him there, whether he can walk or not." Kirk out. "That fellow sounded mighty upset, didn't he?" "Yes, yes, they are." Staring at Mud's women. "We got trouble, Mr. Spock." "I am well of that. I am well aware of that, Mr. Spock, or Mr. Scott." "One lithium crystal left, and that with a hairline split at the base." And Ruth Bonaventure, "Harry Mudd and three women are in his quarters, and the drug's starting to wear off. The women are reverting." Ruth, the other blonde with the short bob, turns to face Harry and in her thick German accent says, "Give us these pills." And Scotty says, "But it's frustrating. Almost 1,000,000 gross tons of vessel, depending on a hunk of crystal the size of my fist." "Destination or purpose of journey, Leo?" "Planet Ophiuchus Planet Ophiuchus 3, wiving settlers." "Come again, Mr. Mudd? You do what?" "I recruit wives for settlers. A difficult but satisfying task." "Computer, go to sensor probe. Any unusual readings?" "No decipherable reading of females. However, unusual reading of male board members. Detecting high respiration patterns. Perspiration rates up. Heartbeat rapid. Blood pressure higher than normal." "That's sufficient. Strike that from the record, Mr. Spock." And Eve said, "We've got men willing to be our husbands waiting for us, and you're taking us in the opposite direction, staring at us like we were Saturnus harem girls or something." "That's enough, Evie." "The only charges are against Mr. Mudd, illegal operation of a vessel." To Harry Mudd. "Do you have any defense to offer?" "Only heaven's own truth, which I have just given you." Eve says, "I read once a commander has to act like a paragon of virtue. I never met a paragon." "Neither have I." "I do hate to see you suffering such a situation, Captain. But truth is truth, and the sad fact is, you will deal. Sooner or later, you'll have to. Don't you think you could, by accident, arrange to leave me behind here on this planet? That would be punishment enough." "I can't do that, Harry, but I will appear as a character witness at your trial if you think that will help." "Ah, throw away the key." "Well, come on, you're the doctor. What is it? Is it that we're tired and they're beautiful, and they are incredibly beautiful? Are they, Jim? Are they actually more lovely, pound for pound, measurement per measurement, than any of the women you've known? Or is it that they just, well, beautiful? No, strike that, strike that. What are they, Bones? You mean, are they alien illusions? That sort of thing? I asked you first. No, an alien smart enough to pull this would be smart enough to keep my medical scanner from going bleep. I don't follow you. I don't either. And then the last lines. Out of orbit, sir? Ahead full. Ahead full, sir. Captain's log, stardate 1329.8. The USS Enterprise in pursuit of an unidentified vessel. First lines. Cool. Very, very cool. Okay. And then, of course, the theme from Star Trek, which was written by and credited to Alexander Courage. Okay, let's take a look at the filming and production. And of course, it was filmed from June 3rd, 1966 to, to June 13th, 1966 at the Desilu Studios there in Culver City. Okay, let's go over the cast and crew. Let's start with Roger C. Carmel. Okay, now you remember Roger C. Carmel also did the voice of Megatron in the series The Transformers. So that was very cool. I remembered that just now. Okay. Roger C. Carmel died at the age of 54 unexpectedly. He was born September 27th, 1932, died November 11th, 1986. Uh, he was named after his grandfather, Roger Charles, who carved the horses for the carousel in New York's Central Park. He became an actor. Sorry, I had to pause there something. Okay, there we go. I had to stop something there for a minute. He became an actor and won television immortality by appearing as Harry Mudd in two classic Star Trek episodes, I, Mudd, and Mudd's Women. Carmel was one of the few guest actors on Star Trek to appear in more than one episode as the same character. And after appearing on stage, he began working steadily in television. Uh, he was in the Transformers the movie. He was Cyclonus, the Quint Quintezon leader. He was the voice in 1986. From 1985 to 1986, he did Megatron, Cyclonus, Motormaster, Bruticus. 1985 to 86, and he did 28 episodes. He also did some of those voices in Transformers 5 Faces of Darkness in 1986, and of course, he did the two episodes of Star Trek. Plus, he did the animated series. The last thing he worked on before he passed was Emir of Somnambula. He did the voice of that in DuckTales. Woo! And he was the Sultan. One episode in 1987. So cool. That was done posthumously after he died. So that was the last thing he did. Okay. Now we'll go take a look at the women. Hello, beautiful. I got my beautiful love, Deja Vu, going meow meow. Okay, let's go to Karen Steele. Okay. All right, Karen Steele. Uh, unfortunately, she passed away back in 1988. She was born on March 20th, 1931, died March 12th, 1988. So at the age of 56. She was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. She was a former cover girl and model. She was one of the most strikingly beautiful actresses to ever work in film and television. She went to the University of Hawaii and to Rollins College in Florida before gracing our film screens with her first film in 1952. Rumor has it that she was mistaken for another actress by producer Delbert Mann when he cast her as a hard case in the drama film Marty from 1955. Like many actresses, as she got older, she turned to television commercials. Cool. And yeah, so she played Virginia in the movie Marty in 1955. I believe that was the one that also featured Ernest Borgnine. Um, in 1966, in a movie called Cyborg 2087, she appeared as Dr. Sharon Mason. And then she did the one episode in Star Trek. And in 1959, before that, she was in a movie called Ride Lonesome as Mrs. Carrie Lane. That was her role there. The last thing she did was in 1972. It was a movie called Trap on Cougar Mountain. And she did one episode of Mannix in 1970. She played Sheila Sprague. Okay, cool. Alrighty. And let's go to the next woman. And that was Susan Denberg. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let's go to Maggie Threat first, who played Ruth. And of course, Karen played Eve. So, okay. Maggie Threat, actress, she did pass away 2 years ago in 2022. She was born November 18th, 1946, in New York City, and she died December 18th, 2022, at the age of 76. She was an actress known for Star Trek Dimension 5. Oh, yeah, she was in Dimension 5, that's right. And McCloud in 1970. She was married to Donnelly Rhodes and a guy named Alex. She died in Long Island. Okay. So, in the one episode she did in McCloud, her character was named Godiva. Um, in a movie called Three in the Attic, her role was Janet Sarah Weingarten in 1968, and in the Dimension 5 movie, she played the second sister in 66. The last thing she did was one episode called of the TV series Run Joe Run, where she played the mother, and that was in 1974. Okay, cool. Alrighty, and we got one left, and that is Magda, played by Susan Denberg. So we'll check her out. And according to this information, Susan Denberg is still alive today. She was born August 2nd, 1944. So I would say out of this episode of the three women, she's the only one left. She is 80 years old. After becoming immersed in the 60s high life of drugs and sex, Denberg left show business and returned to Austria. News interviews at the time show a depressed Denberg in the company of her mother at home in Klagenfurt. These news items, repeated in fan periodicals for years, gave the impression Denberg was suicidal or had already died. Actually, she is still alive. Yeah, as I said, she's 80 years old. Let's see. Some of the things she stood out for in 1966 in a TV series called The Wackiest Ship in the Army. She played the role of Maria. In 1966, along with the Star Trek episode as Magda, she was in a movie called An American Dream. She played Ruta. And then in 1967, she played Christina in a movie called Frankenstein Created Woman. Okay. And that was her last movie role, according to this. Wow. Cool. Alrighty. And yep, she's alive. Yep, she's 80 years old. Okay. So let's get back to what we'll show when we get back from vacation. So next year, basically starting on January 14th, I believe. Let's see here. I hate this one. I gotta grab down my. Yes. Okay, so the second Monday of January, right, is when we'll be starting again. With Red Dwarf, which I said yesterday. So on January 14th, the next episode we'll be covering from TOS is Season 1, Episode 7, and the name of it is What Are Little Girls Made Of, which of course features Ted Cassidy as Rook, and it also is directed by James Goldstone, and it features Nurse Chapel, played by Majel Barrett Roddenberry, and it has the other lady who's an android, and it was written by Robert Bloch and Gene Roddenberry. And I just want to make sure that I got Ted Cassidy up as Rook. And Sherry Jackson as Andrea. And then Michael Strong, who played Dr. Roger Corby. And it features Shatner and Nimoy and Nichelle Nichols. And that's it. And then Lieutenant Leslie, played by Eddie Paskey. Yeah, we talked about him already. And then Majel Barrett is Christine Chapel. There we go. Majel Barrett Roddenberry. So that will be on January 14th next year. And we will cover that episode. So, okay. All right. And so be yourself adventures to Matt Arnold with guitar. Matt says, "Oh, I do have some videos. I was playing music the other day on my channel. Very cool." Lemon says maybe he thought he would attract the ladies better by losing the smock. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Matt Arnold says, "Good night, everyone. Calling in tonight." Good night, Matt. Again, thank you so much for being here. And Sir Lemon says, "Mannix." Yeah, Mannix. Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, everyone. So that's it for tonight. That is the TOS episode we did of Mud's Women, and of course, you know what's going on next year. And I will let you know which two episodes of both the Greatest American Hero when I cover that on Wednesday, and then I'll let you know the first two episodes of season 3, of course, for that. And then I will let you know the first two episodes available for season 3 that we'll be covering that same week for the 18th. Now, remember, tomorrow we are doing two episodes, the last two episodes of season 2 for TGAH. And on Thursday, we're doing the very last 3 episodes of the A Team from season 2. So that will be caught up. And then next year, we'll start with season 3 on both series. Now, when the TGAH reviews end, as you know, I'll go right to your next choice, which was Get Smart. So we will go to that. Okay. So before we end tonight, we have 4 likes. We've got one person still watching. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. I know it's late, but as I said, I didn't want to give a set time for any of these. I just want to know that when I'm available and I can do it, I just want to go ahead and put it out there for you folks so you can rewatch it anytime you want. That usually helps too. So, okay. So, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, thank you so much for social media. We appreciate everyone that was here tonight in the chat, people that are watching us around the world, that get a chance to look at our channel here at MikeySuzeFour and hope that they find a wonderful channel that's very calming, very peaceful. Uh, you get a good camaraderie. If I can never say that word right, I'll be brilliant. Uh, but it's good rapport and everything goes well. And we thank you, dear Lord, for that. We thank your wonderful Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. We thank the Holy Spirit for guiding us in the right way, keeping us out of harm's way. And of course, your most beloved and blessed Virgin Mary for helping us with wisdom and courage every day. And, say special prayers. Remember for Larry and Diane at this time because of his mom passing away and going to heaven to be with his dad and everything else. Please keep your prayers there going uh, for Larry's medical problems. Also, keep your prayers up for Jay and his wonderful friend Renee. They are in Louisiana, as well as Jay and his wonderful partner, the other Jay, there in Michigan with his wonderful partner, Nikki. And I want to say a special prayer out to everybody we know and our subscribers, all 220 that we have of our family community members. Because remember, it's a family more than a community. And I want to thank Lemon Pie for being here tonight, Matt Arnold, Larry of Beer Self Adventures, and of course, Miss Moira Kitty, who I can't wait to do the Thanksgiving stream with you girls, along with Raquel, SSG 2211, on this coming Thursday, um, on the 28th of November. Ronnie's World, we want to thank you, Ronnie's World, for being here as well. We sincerely appreciate you being with us tonight in the chat. It was very well appreciated. Gorilla's Censored Thoughts. And of course, Miss Moira Kitty, meow meow. And that's it. All right. So we covered everybody tonight. All right. So before we end, I want to say a special thank you to everyone. Um, without your support, this is not possible. And I wouldn't have the amen. Thank you. Thank you, Lemon. Um, and I know I wouldn't have the courage or the strength or the drive to do this unless I didn't have my beautiful wife, Suzanne, to help me every day. And when she says, "Hey, honey, you're going to get bored. Why don't you do something?" I said, "I know. And if I can do a webcam or a live stream, whichever I decide to do, and then I have some fun, it's great. But I don't want to burn myself out. So I figured, you know, Suzanne and we just got through cleaning up this entire apartment. Now it is finally done. We've got everything where it's supposed to go. We've got a bit more order rather than chaos here, where we got things stored and everything. Um, the workers have already been here. As I said, they got done painting, fixing the walls, everything else. So everything is done there. And yeah, and now we've got all of our paperwork all together in a suitcase back here, our private stuff. So now we know what we have to do in the next few months while it's still cool outside, so I can get a chance to go out there and finish getting all my paperwork done because I'm still in the middle of it right now. So got to get my paperwork done to get my ID and official status as a citizen. I've been working on that for a couple of years now, and it's just been difficult. So with all the you know, that pan thing we keep talking about, that crazy disease. Yeah, but I should be able to get everything done by the time next year comes around. So. All right. So, in the immortal words of Mr. Gene Siskel of Siskel and Ebert at the movies, The aisle is now closed. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Oh, and by the way, Matt Arnold and Jim, our Jim's Landscape LLC #1 Commodore Productions. I did clean up all the aisles that were in problem, especially aisle 69, aisle 16, aisle 12, and just about everything you can think of in a huge big mall like store like that. So everything is done, and it's all decorated for the holidays, for Christmas, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So woohoo! Yeah. And then we already, oh, this is the crazy thing too. During November, our Dollar Tree and our Dollaramas here are going to have the New Year's Eve hats, plates, cups, the blowers, the everything, it's all going to be out there right now. It's on the shelves. I know because I worked for them. So it's ridiculous. It really is. Anyway, take care, everyone. God bless. God bless everyone here. God bless everyone that we know in our family. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Amen. And God bless America and God bless Canada. And remember, peace from MikeySuzeFour. Good night, all. Thank you, Lemon. Take care, everyone. We'll see you. Oh, and God bless. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.